Makeup is used for many different things: special effects, performers, influencers, and just day-to-day life. But no one talks about the horrible chemicals and horrific beauty standards that started early on in time and are still continuing today. So, let's talk about it. Hello everyone, and I am Riley Elise. Welcome to the very first episode of Let's Talk About It, where every week I sit down and talk about something that has been heavy on my mind. But before we get started, please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment what I should talk about next. Also, don't forget to check out my main channel, Riley Elise, where I vlog content about life, high school, and just me being me. So, let's get started. Please note that every site and source that I use will be linked in the description, and if I miss anything, please feel free to let me know, as it is important for me to be as respectful as I can to these cultures, countries, and different things that I talk about. Now, on to the horrible, not so horrible history of makeup. The earliest use of makeup dates back to 4000 BC with the ancient Egyptians, which they would use it for beauty, hygiene, and religious or magical beliefs. They had ingredients such as kohl and malachite, which would be used to prevent eye infections and repel bugs. But later, in the 1600s, the female beauty standard would switch to pale skin, rosy cheeks, lips, and defined eyes. Wealthy women would even use powder to achieve the pale skinned look, but we would later realize that this powder would end up being really deadly and cause a lot of deaths amongst those women. The powder that they would use to achieve this pale skin was made with arsenic, and for those who did know what that was, like me, I had to Google it. So to save y'all some time, I'm gonna read y'all the definition that Google gave me, so bear with me. Google said, it is a naturally occurring metalloid found in the Earth's crust, air, water, and soil. So they were putting that on their face, and that was like toxic to them. But sadly, good technology didn't exist back then, so medical professionals did not know what was going on, so this powdered makeup was still being used. But the toxic chemicals and arsenic poisoning wasn't the only thing that women were going through at that time. If you were believed to have on too much makeup, you would be called sinful or ungodlike, or they would be telling you would be trying to alter God's image, and so they would send you to jail. You could be embarrassed by the community. Just a lot of things that women went through along with being poisoned by the arsenic, because once again, they didn't realize how toxic that was. But now, as we shift to the late 1700s, the ideal makeup look takes a drastic change, as we are now going to dark eyebrows, dark hair, and dark lips. But unfortunately, like the 1600s with the arsenic and the powder, they now had arsenic, mercury, and lead in all of the other makeup products they were using now. But the 1700s is also the time of the Industrial Revolution, so better technology came out, and so they understood it was poisonous, but to a certain extent, if that makes sense. Like, the technology was good enough to where they could understand that there's some poisons in it, but not enough to fully stop the making, and arsenic completely withdrew from makeup products in the 1900s, and we're in the 1700s. So we'll see a big pattern about people still using arsenic powder and dying, but this time they had arsenic, mercury, and lead. But But as we move into the 1800s, the dark, mysterious phase, the dark makeup and hair phase quickly faded away, and plucking came into the picture, along with rice powder for the visage. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing any of these words wrong. I'm trying my hardest. And red beet juice for the rosiness of your cheeks. So yeah, we have entered the plucking stage. I know, right? red beet juice on your cheeks. The evolution of makeup is spectacular, y'all. It's spectacular. But all of that red beet juice and rice powder quickly faded as the 1900s rolled around, and the very first pressed powder was invented. And I know I said arsenic and mercury and lead faded in the 1900s. Yeah, it was the late 1900s, because they still used it in pressed powder and eventually pressed blush powder, which was easier for performers and movie stars, as they said in the articles I was reading, to put on their face. And so the dyeing and chemical poisoning and all of that still continued on to the 1900s. Also, with the pressed blush, it didn't say, I couldn't find anything on it, and so if someone knows how they used to make it back then, can someone please tell me? But for right now, did they just solidify the red beet juice blush and make it into a powder? I don't know. Someone please tell me, because that scares me a little bit. But yeah, that was a little side note. But they are now using these new and improved, still deadly arsenic, mercury, lead products into the roaring 20s. Hello, because that is when the very first eye curler came out. I know, along with the blush and the powder, movie stars would also use that to make their eyelashes pop on set. So that's a fun fact to know. But along with the very new and improved eyelash curler that was probably somehow deadly back then, came them using henna. If y'all don't know what henna is, it's like this inky paste kind of thing. We used to live in Bahrain, and so we'd get henna tattoos all along our arm. It was like a Middle Eastern thing, I feel. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I just know, like, back then that was like what they would always do. They'd have henna tattoos and stuff. So they were using henna to outline their lips and their eyes to make their eyes pop as well. Anyway, with makeup, we have come a long way, from the Egyptians to the 1600s to the 1700s to the 1800s to the 1900s to now, the 2000s. Although the makeup probably got better, how much better did it really get? Because there will always be something bad in any product, no matter what evolution it went through. Now, I'm not hating on any makeup. I'm wearing makeup right now, but I do want to say, please be careful with what you're putting on your face. Make sure you read the ingredients and really know if it's like good for your face. But I know what I talked about in this video wasn't too horrible, but it kind of was, because throughout this entire makeup period, women were being criticized, called sinful, and I feel like that even happens now, starting from the 1600s to the 1700s, where they could use women wearing too much makeup as a reason to call them a witch. That's crazy that they could use women like feeling beautiful, wearing a lot of makeup as a reason to call them a witch. But along with that and being called sinful and being criticized, they were poisoning themselves unknowingly by using arsenic and mercury and lead and probably so many other bad chemicals for you in their makeup, and they had no idea, because the technology evolution wasn't that good back then. But I hope you all enjoyed my very first episode of Let's Talk About It, where we talked about the horrible, not so horrible history of makeup. Please, once again, comment down below if I missed anything, said anything incorrectly, or if you just want me to talk about something different. I don't only just talk about the dark stuff. I talk about anything. I can talk about books, I can talk about movies, I can talk about health, I can talk about being a high schooler. This channel is really just talking about things, if I'm being honest. And yeah, whatever your heart desires, put it in the comments and I will talk about it in one of my episodes. I don't know how soon I'll get to your comment if you comment, but I promise I will talk about that topic soon. So I love you all so much. Peace out.